Most modern wars are fought over political disagreements, which are pretty shallow. Ideological battles. What kind of government are we going to have? Capitalism called communism, or communism called capitalism? Or what have you? Those wars are fought out of fear. So we say, all right, we're going to blow those bastards to pieces. We're afraid of them. We don't want anything to do with them. We'd like to just get rid of them. Yeah, but if that is your motivation and this is your spirit, that you're frightened of the enemy, you're not going to be a good soldier. A good soldier is supposed to be courageous. See? You're not supposed to be afraid. So, all right, say, well, okay, we're not frightened of these people. We just think that they've been exploiting everybody else, and we are the knight on a white horse with a lance, and we're going to rescue everybody. Okay? In you go. And you stir up the same kind of problems. Everybody says the knight on the white horse. Gee, aren't you a stuffed shirt? You think you're holier than everybody else. You offend us by your righteousness. You're disgusting. You're not even human. And after all, you're a hypocrite. Because you may come on politically with this white horse, but you have all kinds of rackets back home. You know. Still, you're courageous. You've won all that courage. You're not afraid of death and all that. So, if you're not afraid of death and all that, the question comes up again. Why fight? What's the point? Who are you protecting? Are you going to teach your children to be afraid? And say, I'll protect my children because they've been taught to be afraid. I'm the father. I've learned not to be afraid. Why didn't I teach my children not to be afraid? If I had, I wouldn't have had to defend them. Because they would have said it's just an illusion and we can dissolve out of this body and appear somewhere else. Because if that is what happens, and it's pretty obvious that it is, I mean, when I say you'll appear somewhere else, everybody who appears is you. Only you can only experience it one at a time. But everybody only experiences themselves in the singular. But everybody's you, everybody's I, that's our name. We all share that. So there's nothing to worry about in that sense. But if you know that in your heart of hearts, obviously the only strategy that is worth anything at all is not to chop everything up, but to love everybody.
Hello to you all. You're watching RHTVLive, and we are streaming live from the beautiful city of Maastricht, which is in the south of the Netherlands. And of course, we're going to talk politics and geopolitics, right? And let's start off with something very, very special, something called peace, right? Very, very special in times like these, because, you know, the whole world was in flames. And now we have peace, at least in one region. Armenia and Azerbaijan have peace. And we have Donald Trump to thank for that, right? So that's the first thing we're going to look at. And of course, we're also going to show it on the map so people know what we're talking about, right? So here we have Armenia and here we have Azerbaijan. And Armenia actually had a satellite state within Azerbaijan, Nagorno-Karabakh. And Azerbaijan said, nope, that is our country, and we are going to take over. And, you know, it's been an on and off conflict between these two countries. And we're going to take a look at Donald J. Trump at the White House, actually having a peace negotiation between the two countries. And even the president, or I believe it's president of Azerbaijan, says Donald Trump needs a peace prize. We're going to take a look at this for a couple of minutes.
And here is U.S. President Donald Trump. He's hosting the leaders of Armenia and Azerbaijan at the White House for what he calls a historic peace deal. This is an agreement that's meant to end decades of conflict and includes the reopening of transport routes. We're going to take you live now to the White House, where Donald Trump is taking questions from reporters who are there.
We're going to be announcing later on, we're going to have a meeting with Russia. We'll start off with Russia, and we'll announce a location. I think the location will be a very popular one for a lot of reasons, but we'll be announcing that a little bit later. I just don't want to do it now because of the importance of what we just did.
I completely understand that. Just a follow-up. Are you surprised that Zelensky hasn't figured out by now, in years of war, how to deal with you and to deal with Putin without needing permission to make concessions from his parliament or from a national referendum?
Well, he's going out and getting what he needs. You know, he's not authorized to do certain things. I said, well, you're going to have to get it fast because, you know, we're getting very close to a deal. And he's doing that, and he's working with the European nations, and they're terrific people, terrific leaders, NATO. And as you know, I became very friendly with them. They agreed to go from 2% to 5%, 2% that they didn't pay to 5%.
So, yeah, NATO is supporting Ukraine against Russia, and NATO's standpoint is you need to join the EU. Maybe we cannot, let you join NATO because that's not what Russia really wants, right? So maybe you can join the EU, and who knows what's on the table. The meeting is supposed to be in Alaska somewhere, which is a pretty odd choice. But anyway, it's far away, secluded from civilization, And there's actually an international arrest warrant against Vladimir Putin. So, yeah, the ICC and the ICJ, the U.S. standpoint on those two institutions is screw you guys.
Percent that they've already paid. That's trillions of dollars. So, we're working together very closely. But no, in all fairness to President Zelensky, he's getting everything he needs to assuming we get something done. But I'll be meeting very shortly with President Putin. It would have been sooner, but I guess there's security arrangements that unfortunately people have to make. Otherwise, I'd do it much quicker. He would too. He'd like to meet as soon as possible. I agree with it, but we'll be announcing that.
So, yeah, that's about Russia. Let's skip ahead a few minutes. So, there we go.
Always little problems here and there, right? The big ones have been solved. These are the giant ones have been solved. But if there's conflict, they both know they're going to call me and we're going to get it straightened out. They're not going to have a problem. Where are you from? Armenia. Okay, good. Very good. I was wondering. It was a very unusual question. But it's not unusual considering you're from Armenia. If there's a problem, we will get it worked out. I told them both, don't let the problem last. We get it early and we'll get it solved. Good reporter you have over there. Okay.
Can I
yes,
ask?
Please.
First of all, I'd like to say that today we initialed the peace deal, which was in the process of negotiations for quite a while. The fact that it is initialed here, in the capital #1 of the world, in the office #1 of the world, and in front of the great president of the United States means that there should be no doubts and no suspicions that any of the sides would step back. If any of us, Prime Minister Pashinyan or myself, had in mind to step back, we wouldn't have come here. So you can be absolutely sure, as well as Azerbaijani community, that what has happened today will result in peace, long-lasting peace, eternal peace in the Caucasus.
That's a very nice answer.
I'm sorry. Fully agree and nothing to add.
That's a very nice two statement.
So there we have it, right? And peace in the region over there, which is a good thing. It's been an on and off conflict for 35 years, and it's stabilized by Donald Trump. The Russian influence is basically gone, right? Because Russia had a kind of a deal with Armenia about Nagorno-Karabakh. They were supposed to protect that, but Russia was highly involved in Syria. We remember the Syrian war, and they're also involved in Ukraine, of course. And it's a very complex situation. But yeah, peace is in Armenia and Azerbaijan, which is a good thing. There was also a border conflict between Thailand and Cambodia, and that border conflict is also resolved. And we're going to take a look at this here, and we'll see who is involved.
Thailand and Cambodia have agreed to hold peace talks in Malaysia after 4 days of border conflict. Thailand has confirmed a delegation led by the acting Prime Minister would attend after US President Donald Trump called for the leaders of both nations to agree to an immediate ceasefire.
There he is. The guy's everywhere, man. You know, so the border conflict is also solved with Thailand and Cambodia. And yeah, that's also a good thing. We want peace. We want global peace. And I believe Donald Trump has been watching RHTVLive, because we pointed out Nagorno-Karabakh and other situations, such as the Congo, which is also resolved according to Mr. Trump. And yeah, that's also a conflict that's been going on for 30 odd years. And basically you have 3 countries supporting proxies trying to overthrow Kinshasa, and put a president there, you know, that's favorable for the 3 countries. So that's that, right? It's also something that's resolved. Now, Africa is a very big continent, and not all conflicts are solved yet, but we're getting there, which is a very good thing, right? Now, I believe that RHTVLive has lots of traction, because we have a new channel, the Enforcer, which uses Google Maps to show the conflicts going on in and around our beautiful planet. Very interesting channel to watch. So yeah, that's also something to keep our eyes on, right? We need to know what's going on, and we're going to take a look at a couple of minutes of this here. Chinese Air Force swarms Taiwan, which is a bad thing. You know, they've been doing all these operations over there in the Sea of Japan and stuff. and the South China Sea. So we know. We're going to take a look at this year for a couple of minutes. Yeah, we love our classical music, but as you can see here, they're using Google Maps to show the conflict zones, and very interesting channel to watch. So keep your eyes on that, focus on that. Very interesting, and they've been going live for quite a while. And as you can see, they're also using Google Maps, right? So I believe they've been watching RHTVLive, right? So yeah, we have that going on. Very interesting channel. We're also going to take a look at our favorite country, the best country used to be the best country in the world, which is Canada, right? Canada. We love Canada in the Netherlands, and there's a yearly annual thing that we celebrate, right? The Second World War. The Canadians freed us from the Nazis, and we celebrate that over here in the Netherlands. Let's take a look at this here.
Netherlands, today was a day of reflection and celebration, a time to remember when the Dutch were murdered, starved, robbed of their rights under the brutal grip of Nazi occupation, but also to celebrate the moment their Canadian liberators marched in. Crowds filled the city of Apeldoorn, honoring Canadian veterans in a grand parade, a chance 70 years later to thank the men and women who came to save them. The CBC's Nala Ayed has our story from Apeldoorn.
It is inspired by gratitude, but this is also about reminiscing, a meeting of old friends in new times.
Hi! Hi! Oh, hello, buddy!
The greeting here to Canadian veterans is hello again. Hello to the men and women who helped rewrite this country's history.
Bravo!
To the few who survive still to tell the story.
Thank you, thank you.
We thank you, Canada. We thank you for liberating us from the Nazis. And now, looking at Canada now, Canada has become a totalitarian country. We have the Canadian Parliament basically having a standing ovation for a Nazi. Let's take a look at this here. The Speaker of the House needed to resign because he did not know that this old geezer from Ukraine was a Nazi, and nor did Parliament, but we know.
Ukrainian Canadian world veteran from the Second World War who fought the Ukrainian independence against the Russians and continues to support the troops today, even at his age of 98.
Yeah, they fought against the Russians, all right. They fought with the Nazis against the Russians, right? So we have Parliament in Canada clapping for a Nazi.
His name is Yaroslav Hunka. And I was going to say he's in the gallery, but I think you beat me to that. But I'm very proud to say that he is from North Bay and from my riding of Nipissing-Temiskaming. He's a Ukrainian hero, a Canadian hero, and we thank him for all his service. Thank you.
So, from fighting the Nazis now to supporting the Nazis, you know, the neo-Nazi faction in Ukraine, which is why Russia is attacking Ukraine. They're attacking the Russian minorities in Ukraine, and Russia says, nope, don't do that, don't do that. They've been saying that for quite a while, and now they're intervening within Ukraine, right? And yeah, all kinds of sanctions are applied to Russia and this and that. But, you know, we love Canada as the Netherlands, and we see that Canada, Nova Scotia, actually our city in Apeldoorn basically gave the parade to the Canadians, you know. We honor the Canadians for freeing us. But nowadays in Canada, you're not allowed to go into the woods of Nova Scotia. Not allowed. And if you do so, then you'll get a fine for 28,000 Canadian dollars. $28,000. Now let's see what that currency would be in euros. We're going to calculate that. Let's see, 28,000. Let's see. So here we have a site where we can see what the Canadian dollar is doing against the euro. Let's see how much this is. Anyway, use this site. Let's see, one Canadian dollar is 62 euro cents. 28. So this is the amount that needs to be paid when you go into the woods of Nova Scotia, right? And it's very, very sad because we have contacts in Canada, Press for Truth, who basically said to the Nova Scotians, go into the woods, right? And we'll take it to court. So we're going to show that. Here we have the governor of Nova Scotia.
Out of the woods. We are restricting travel and activities that really aren't necessary for most of us. Hiking, camping, fishing, and the use of vehicles in the woods are not permitted. Trail systems through woods are off limits. Camping is allowed, but only in official campgrounds. The fine for violating any of these bans is the same as the fine for the ban on burning, $25,000.
Climate lockdowns are officially here, and if you do what I'm doing right now in Nova Scotia, you could be fined $25,000. What do they think is going to happen?
Oh, it's 25,000, not 28,000.
Happen if you dare to go out and take a hike? This? Canadians have been told over and over again that climate change is what's causing wildfires, but now the blame has been shifted to you directly, and you are the one who needs to be stopped. But guess what? Riding your bike and hiking and fishing doesn't cause wildfires. In fact, more often than not, the cause has been state control. Remember the shoe swap fires in BC? It turned out that the director of wildfire operations, Cliff Chapman, admitted that they started the fires with a controlled ignition.
We did conduct a planned ignition on that fire last Thursday.
This is insane. So you have Nova Scotia, basically, or somewhere else in Canada, basically starting fires. The government is doing this, and you as a civilian are not allowed to go into the woods because of fires. This is insane.
We did it cautiously. We knew the winds were coming. As those winds were approaching, going through the Caribou Fire Center, there was a continuous line of fuel between the main body of the fire and all of the communities along the North Shore. Unfortunately, with the wind that we knew was forecast and that was coming, that fire went above the control line that we burned off from and then swept back into the communities in the North Shuswap.
These are the people who are supposed to have all of this under control. But no, it's you and your nature hikes in the woods. That's the problem. Or what about the recent fires in Lytton that was literally caused by the RCMP?
And the British Columbia RCMP taking responsibility for an out-of-control wildfire burning north of Lytton.
The BC RCMP has revealed that it accidentally sparked the Eisman Creek wildfire currently burning along Highway 12 just...
So the RCMP is starting a fire. Oops, we started a fire. Yeah, who are we going to blame? The tax-paying Canadians. Yeah, let's blame them. Yeah, let's point the finger at them. They're not allowed to go into the woods anymore. This is a totalitarian statement of the governor, you know, that you're not allowed to go into the woods. Look at the background. The woods are everywhere, man, everywhere. And you're supposed to avoid that? Really? Why?
north of Lytton.
It does appear that equipment was simply failed. Obviously very unintentional.
Oops, our bad. But forget about that. It's you nature-loving Nova Scotians who need to be stopped at all costs. And speaking of costs, here's Nova Scotia's crime and punishment guide. Drunk driving, $1,000. Assault someone, $5,000. Use your phone while driving, $500. Drive without insurance, $2,000 to $5,000. Shoplifting under $5K, $1,000. Speeding 40 kilometers over the limit, $400. Trespass on private property, $500. Illegal dumping, $50,000 to $5,000. Vandalism, $1,000 to $5,000. Walk, hike, or bike in the woods, $25,000. They even...
Now, we said 28,000, and here we have the total number of euros that, you know, needs to be paid to the government that starts to fire themselves, right? It's insanity. So we are proud of the Canadians. We love Canada, but we don't like your government. It's a very, very bad government, and Canadians are aware of that. They are fed up with their government. And as I've said, Dan Dix had said, you know, what I'm doing is walking in the woods, and I'd get a very big fine for that, right? 25,000 Canadian dollars. And yeah, it's insanity. It really is insanity. The government is starting the fire themselves. And they're pointing the finger at the civilians. This is not fair. This is a totalitarian government. Now, a couple of years ago, there were some brave Canadians standing up against the COVID regulations. Remember this? And their money was taken away, right? By the government. So you pay these people to represent you, and the only thing they can do is take away your money and lock you up. And this is the government that, you know, is supposed to serve you.
Set up a snitch line so that you can rat out your fellow neighbor who might dare to take a nature hike in the woods. Gee.
Oh, we also have a snitch line, even though that was during the COVID period, right? The pandemic. Yeah, we had a snitch line. If you had more than X amount of people in your house, then the neighbor could call a snitch line, and the cops would be at your door within 10 to 20 minutes, you know, because you have people in your living space. The government even said if a football club scores a goal, you're not allowed to shout, you have to dance and use a rattle. Really, you know, it's insanity. A mass psychosis. And people are still in the mass psychosis.
It sure would be a shame if thousands of people started making fake reports, overwhelming their systems, wouldn't it? You could say stuff like, yeah, I just saw a totally flaming prime minister just walking around outside like it's no big deal. If they actually wanted to stop the flames from spreading in Nova Scotia, maybe they shouldn't actually block real firefighters trying to help. Remember this?
Hi folks, I'm a retired forest technologist from the Department of Natural Resources, and I have 29 years experience fighting forest fires here in Nova Scotia. As things progressed last week and buildings were burning and people were being evacuated, I realized that Nova Scotia had a resource of retired technical staff that were experts at fighting fire. And so I put together a team. I called some of these guys up and I put together a crack team. And then I immediately notified Natural Resources at Fire Control in Shuby. I contacted a local district supervisor. And they both notified me that the province wouldn't be interested in hiring on any retired staff to do work. So at the same time we were being told that, the Premier was begging for help on every newscast that he could get on. And then I fought with the province on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and again on Friday, trying to get our guys put in key positions where they were needed throughout the province. I got the same answer continually. Thank you, but no thank you. What taxpayers need to understand is while buildings were burning and the province was short-staffed and our government was standing in front of TV cameras saying we're doing everything they can, they lied to your face. They didn't. I could have pulled together a lot more teams of guys, retired guys willing to come out and do this. On the first team I put together, we close to 200 years of experience of fighting fires here in the Acadia region of Nova Scotia. I'd like to quote what Tim Houston said on Thursday on Talk Radio. He said, in an emergency, the time for action is now, the time for paperwork is later. And that was only minutes after I'd just been advised from Shubenacadie, thanks, but no thanks, we're not going to take you guys on.
The time for action is now. Right? Now, when is now? You can postpone now. You could do it tomorrow, or the day after tomorrow, or next year. But the time for action is now. And I'm proud of the Canadians because there was someone going into the woods of Nova Scotia and he got a fine. 28K.
Not the woods. But back here, the woods. So I have a couple of right now who are not on camera, but asked me that if I go into the woods, if I defy their orders to go into the woods, then I will be fined. I'm going to walk down here and go into these woods. I'm just going to make this as painless as I can for those guys and go in here. And they have me on camera as well, walking in the woods. Okay, and I didn't ask, but did you write the ticket already, or?
No, we'll meet you back out front.
Back out front at the reception desk there? Okay, if I bring my camera, keep you guys off it?
Yep. Fine is $28,872.50.
Okay, I thought it was ask, but did you write the ticket already, or?
No, we'll meet you back up front.
Back out front at the reception desk there? Okay, if I bring my camera, keep you guys off it?
Yep. Fine is $28,872.50.
Okay, I thought it was 25,000. It's 28,870.
Court costs, victim fees, taxes.
Oh, victim fees.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. All right, thanks very much. Appreciate your courteous approach. Nice chatting with you. All right, take care. So here we go. Oh, I have a ticket here for, let's see if you can see that.
Did you guys hear that? What? Let's go back to this. There's a victim fee.
Walking in the woods. Okay, and I didn't ask, but did you write the ticket already, or?
No, we'll meet you back out front.
And as you can see here in the reflection, they are on cam.
Back out front at the reception desk there? Okay, if I bring my camera, keep you guys off it?
Yep. Fine is $28,872.50.
Okay, I thought it was 25,000. It's 28,870.
Court costs, victim fees, taxes.
Oh, victim fees.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you guys hear that? Victim fees. So who's the victim here? Right? You're getting fined for 28,000 Canadian dollars and you need to pay victim fees? Really? Who's the victim here? Yeah, so it's government. So yeah, this veteran went into the woods and got fined for daring to go into the woods. Oh, you went into the woods. Yeah, you're not allowed to do that. No, no, no. You have to listen to government because government has the best intentions for you. Even though they blocked bank accounts and are clapping for Nazis, they have your best interest at heart.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks very much, gentlemen. I appreciate your courteous approach. Nice chatting with you. All right. Take care. So here we go. Oh, I have a ticket here for, let's see if we can see that, $28,870.50 for victimizing somebody. Okay. So more to follow.
This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth.
We love you, Dan. But what I don't understand is you have a 28,000 somewhat Canadian dollars that you have to pay, and 50 cents. Like, what? For victim fee? Really?
We've got a great show lined up for you today. Let's jump right into it. Joining me on the line right now is Jeff Evely, the first man to be fined over $28,000 for daring to walk into the woods after the province of Nova Scotia decided to do the very draconian thing and ban doing such a thing. This includes hiking, riding a bike, fishing, you name it. It's absolutely insane. So Jeff, thank you so much for first of all taking some time to speak with me here today at Press for Truth, and also for engaging in that act of civil disobedience that you decided to engage in. So I want to talk about the kind of things that you expect to see come of this. But before we get into that, maybe you could start us off by telling us, what was your initial reaction when you heard on, I think it was August 5th, that they were going to be enacted effective immediately, that you wouldn't be able to walk into what is essentially amounts to your own backyard there in Nova Scotia?
Yeah, my immediate reaction, I mean, I guess I knew right away that I was going to defy the ban and I was going to take the fine. So that was my immediate response. I delayed it by a couple of days because my immediate reaction was that I was furious. And this is the second time that they did this. They did it also back in 2023. And at that time, I submitted an application for judicial review on charter grounds, just self-representing. And ultimately, the court declined to award me standing because apparently my rights don't really mean anything in a Canadian court. There has to be money involved. So they said because I did not get fined, I didn't have standing, and declined to hear my case on the merits. So when they did it again, I said, well, I know what I need to do now. I need to go out and get fined and make sure this thing gets heard on the merits so we can nip it in the bud once and for all.
Well, taking it to the courts, I think, is a good call. This is probably the space where we need to fight these battles. But I mean, could it potentially come down to which judge you might get? And what do you think? I know you can't predict the future, but what do you think might come of that?
I have very low expectations of the first judge that you hit. It seems to be the case that we need to take these things to the higher courts. That seems to be a pretty consistent trend that we've observed over the last several years. We can't rely on the lower court judges to, have any spine. So I'm not abundantly hopeful that we'll get a favorable decision on try. But I think we have some really good prospects. I mean, I would probably put it, at about 70. Well, Grok put it at like 70% that we would win in a case like this on charter grounds.
So, yeah, take it to court, right? It's very, very sad to see that such a beautiful country as Canada has these draconian rules that they need to abide by, right? I know many Canadians, and I know that they are a proud bunch of people. They're proud to be Canadian. And much praise for this guy here risking a fine of 28,000 somewhat Canadian dollars and 50 cents. Now, who's the victim here? Right? Who's the victim here? Parliament clapping for Nazis, supporting Ukraine, and it's really insane. Really is insane. The world is in a mass psychosis, and that's not a term that I just made up. We have this video here talking about the mass psychosis and how to escape the mass psychosis, which is really, really hard.
Channel for more of their videos. The masses have never thirsted after truth. They turn aside from evidence that is not to their taste, preferring to deify error if error seduce them. Whoever them with illusions is easily their master. Whoever attempts to destroy their illusions is always their victim.
So the masses have never thirsted for truth, which is true. Even Plato had said, if you look beyond the shadows of the veil, or something along those lines, so even then the lie was prevalent, right? They turn aside from evidence that is not to their taste, preferring to defy error if error seduce them. Wait a minute. So you're telling me that I'm going to get a shot and a pizza? Really? Yeah. I'm going to take a shot. Yeah. For a slice of pizza. So, anyway.
To the psychologist Carl Jung, the globalization lies not with the forces of nature, nor with any physical disease, but with our inability to deal with the forces of our own psyche. We are our own worst enemies, or as the Latin proverb puts it, man is a wolf to man. In Civilization in Transition, Jung states that this proverb is a sad yet eternal truism, and our wolf-like tendencies come most prominently into play at those times of history when mental illness becomes the norm rather than the exception in a society, a situation which is termed a psychic epidemic. Indeed, it is becoming ever more obvious, he writes, that it is not famine, not earthquakes, not microbes, not cancer, but man himself, who is man's greatest danger to man, for the simple reason that there is no adequate protection against psychic epidemics, which are infinitely more devastating than the worst of natural catastrophes. In this video, we are going to explore the most dangerous of all psychic epidemics, psychosis. A mass psychosis is an epidemic of madness, and it occurs when a large portion of a society loses touch with reality and descends into delusions. Such a phenomenon is not a thing of fiction. Two examples of mass psychoses are the American and European witch hunts of the 16th and 17th centuries, and the rise of totalitarianism in the 20th century. During the witch hunts, thousands of individuals, mostly women, were killed, not for any crimes they committed, but because they became the scapegoats of societies gone mad. In some Swiss villages, writes Francis Hill, there were scarcely any women left alive after the frenzy had finally burned itself out. When a mass psychosis occurs, the results are devastating. Jung studied this phenomenon and wrote that the individuals who make up the infected society become morally and spiritually inferior. They sink unconsciously to an inferior intellectual level. They become more unreasonable, irresponsible, emotional, erratic, and unreliable, and worst of all, crimes the individual alone could never stand are freely committed by the group smitten by madness. What makes matters worse?
Wait a minute, you're telling me the truth about a bioweapon made in Wuhan and escaped from a lab? You are a conspiracy theorist. You know, you're weird. You have a weird mind. Yeah. So this is the mass psychosis. When you even tell the truth, they look away. The masses look away.
Is that those suffering from a mass psychosis are unaware of what. For just as an individual gone mad cannot step out of his mind to observe the errors in his ways, so too there is no Archimedean point from which those living through a mass psychosis can observe their collective madness. But what causes a mass psychosis? To answer this question, we must first explore what drives an individual mad. While there are many potential triggers of madness, such as an excessive use of drugs or alcohol, brain injuries, and other illnesses, these physical causes will not concern us here. Our concern is with psychological, or what are called psychogenic triggers, as these are the most common culprits of the mass psychosis.
This is what the media is doing 24/7, right? War here, war there, you know, famine here, famine there, flooding here, flooding there. They're even saying that, you know, if we don't do anything about our dikes over here in the Netherlands, the whole country will be underwater because most of the country is below sea level. You know, it's a scare tactic, right? They're scaring you, and they're lying to you.
The most prevalent psychogenic cause of a psychosis is a flood of negative emotions, such as fear or anxiety, that drives an individual into a state of panic. When in a state of panic, an individual will naturally seek relief, as it is too mentally and physically draining to subsist in this hyper-emotional state. While escaping from the state of panic can be accomplished through adaptive means, such as facing up to and defeating the fear-generating threat.
This is what we are doing with RHTVLive. We're like Gandalf. You shall not pass, right? Warding off all these evil, shadowy organizations such as the World Economic Forum, Bilderberg Trilateral Commission, and all these other weird conglomerations such as the United Nations and the EU, right? You shall not pass. Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're confronting the evil that's right in front of our face.
Another way to escape is to undergo a psychotic break. A psychotic break is not a descent into a state of greater disorder, as many believe, but a reordering of one's experiential world, which blends fact and fiction, or delusions and reality, in a way that helps end the feelings of panic. Silvano Arietti, one of the 20th century's foremost authorities on schizophrenia, explains steps that lead to madness.
Isn't it weird? We needed to stay inside and, you know, protect each other and this and that. And now there's a war in Ukraine and they're lining us up to kill a Russian. Wait a minute. It's like, what, really? That's the mass psychosis that we're in, right? And the people in power are beyond the mass psychosis. They're in their own bubble, you know, thinking that they're doing some good whilst they're evil. They're evil. Evil people. And this is for the Dutch government, even though we don't really have one right now. It's an interim government. But it also counts for the German government, for France. Every government is evil. They don't work for the interests of the people. They see a war as, just numbers. Oh, so many thousand people have died. Just a number. Keep on pushing. Keep on pushing. Right? They don't care. They'll never see the front lines. They'll never have their own kids going into a war zone. Right? They don't care. But you and I, yeah, we got to go to the war zone. Yeah. And if you don't volunteer for that, then there are some other measurements that the government can take, such as breaking into your house and kidnapping you and putting you in the front lines. So let's hope that peace will prevail. As we've shown in the beginning of the broadcast, there are some good signs, but there's also bad, right? The people in Nova Scotia are supposed to be free. Go live in the woods for a week, and they can't find you all. Right? People from Ottawa, people from Montreal, people from Quebec, Newfoundland and Labrador, Ontario, all go to Nova Scotia and occupy the woods over there. Right? Have a big party. The Canadians are famous for their parties. People from Toronto, whatever, Ontario, Quebec, all these other places, go to Nova Scotia and live in the woods, and take a vacation, right? And they cannot find you all. Take a stand in Nova Scotia. A very interesting place because over there we have lots of people buried that died on the Titanic. So it's a very interesting place, Nova Scotia. And as I've said before, take a vacation in Nova Scotia, go to the woods and hang out there, Don't start any forest fires, though. Don't do that. But occupy the woods of Nova Scotia. Maybe you'll even find the Sasquatch. And Canada is a very big country. So if you have occupying force over there, right? Just people in the woods, no violence. Just people in the woods. And if you have a large enough number, and you're constant, then all of Canada will come. We've seen this during the trucker demonstration, right? All of Canada was standing at the highway with a Canadian flag. We had these trucks honking and stuff like that. People were helping each other out. What has happened? Oh, proud Canadians, what has happened to your country? I watch and weep, and I used to see this as a very good destination for a vacation, but now, it's not very tempting to go to Nova Scotia. I'll put it that way. So we're at the end of the live stream. And of course, we have Jesse Wells with War Isn't Murder, closing off with that. Here we go. War isn't murder.
War isn't murder. Good men don't die. Children don't starve and all the women survive. War isn't murder. That's what they say. And you're fighting the devil. Murder is okay. War isn't murder. They're called casualties. There ain't no better than with a good night's sleep. Let's talk about dead people. I mean a dead people. The dead don't feel honor. They don't feel that brave. They don't feel it. They're lucky if they got good. Call your dead mother, ask her when she died. It's a deathly silence on the other line. The dead don't talk, but their children don't forget. So in 20 short years you could live to regret that. War isn't murder, there's money at stake. Yeah, even Kushner agrees it's good a real estate. War isn't murder, ask Netanyahu. He's got a song for that, he's got a bomb for you. War isn't murder, it's an old desert faith. It's a nation state sanctioned righteous hate. Let's talk about dead people. I mean a dead people. War isn't murder, it's the vengeance of God. If you can't see the bodies, they don't blow when they rot. And the flies don't swarm and the children don't cry. If war isn't murder, good men don't die. So in a short 20 years where you vacation the strip, try not to think about the dead and have a nice trip. War isn't murder, let's all give thanks. I saw it all in a movie, give it up for Tom Hanks. War isn't murder, they don't ship out the poor, and the bullets they fire ain't part of the cure. War isn't murder, land is a right, but the bank's called dibs, it's something you can't fight. Let's talk about dead people, I mean a dead people. The dead don't feel honor, they don't feel that brave, they don't feel avenged, they're lucky if they got graves. Call your dead mother, ask her when she died. It's a deathly silence on the other line. The dead don't talk, but the children don't forget. So in 20 short years you could live to regret that.
Yep, you can live to regret that. War isn't murder when it comes to earning money. Yeah? Dropping bombs cost money, but someone is earning money. That someone is the military industrial complex and all their outside sources, their contractors, right? We know. We hope for a better world, a world where there is peace. And to have peace, you must have peace of mind. Look at things objectively. Don't take a side, right? We're all humans. So I thank you all for watching, and we'll see each other next time.